All right. If I could have your attention on the screen real fast. I have turned on a utility that will hopefully make things a little bit easier for you guys to see in these screen recordings. I've found a way to highlight my mouse clicks, but not yet my keyboard keys. So if you watch different tutorials, especially if you kind of explore some of the more in-depth web design resources that are out there, specifically to the type of stuff that we're trying to do, a lot of them have really helpful ways of showing what they're clicking on, what they're typing in, what buttons they're pressing to make things happen, etc., etc. So, I have one here that I just want to demonstrate for you real quick. Whenever I'm clicking with my pointer finger, this is a left click. This is the thing that you're usually clicking on to open stuff up. You double click to open a file, you click on your grades tab, your assignments tab in Canvas, etc. You're using your pointer finger or your left click to do that, okay? You guys see when I click it turns green? Fades for a second. Whenever you see green on the recording, that means I'm clicking with my pointer finger, the main interaction button, okay? Now, also with web design, there's a lot of things that go into more advanced menus, and in order to get there, you have to right click. So you right click with your middle finger, because it's the other right hand button of the two. That one is going to be red, okay? Think of it as red for right click. You see how when I do that, it's the little red circle, and then this context menu is appearing around my desktop, okay? So I want to check you guys real quick. Which click is this as a class? Is that left or right? Left. This is a left click, okay? As a class, which click is this? Right click, okay? Red equals right, okay? Or right click equals red. That's what I mean. Okay? So, whenever you're watching screen recordings and you see a red circle, that's me right clicking. Green circle is left click. Okay, and when I click and drag, you can see that it sticks to the cursor as well. Okay, what are we doing today on this Monday? What are we kind of looking forward to this week? That's the wrong button. Okay, let me. How do I delete this slide? There it is. Okay, view slideshow. Okay. So you did your entry task, going on a road trip with friends. What kind of role do you play? I'm kind of curious to see where you guys put yourselves, just to get to know you a little bit better. I'm typically the navigator or photographer of the group. That's what I find the most fun, just in general. So, flexes this week before we get into the content that I want to show off for you today. Tomorrow, Principal Hennig mentioned we have the course request process, so you guys will stay here. You do have, I believe it is a week-long window. I think it's a calendar week, not a school week, to complete your course request process for the next year. So 9th, 10th, 11th graders, you guys have this to complete. Seniors, obviously not. Congratulations as you get closer to graduation, but you guys are staying here for that. And then Wednesday, we are back to our normal flexes after we've had to adjust for some of these weather days. Regular teacher offerings Wednesday after 6th. Okay? So, what are we actually doing today? This is a to-do list for everything we want to try to complete by the middle of our block day, so we don't have to get all of this today, but these are the steps that I want to show you to set up your project for the month. So, the way I like to run the class is that each month you'll configure one project folder. So you'll do one for March, one for April, one for May, and then a little one for June. And then different assignments in that process category are going to be about updating the main single project. So when you turn in your project, it's got a bunch of it's kind of like a notebook check, right? Where the project is the notebook, and then all the assignments that you put into a notebook check become what you submit at the end of the month. So our main goal for today is to get that set up and make sure the server is ready and running, but we'll get to that here in just a second. First things first, I want to show you that you should be copying your unzipped project template folder onto your computer. I can't remember if we got through this part on the other day when we were here, because last week was a lot of configuring, making sure everything was working. But if you go to your daily agenda, our main thing to do is a March file setup, and then we're going to try a GitHub push if we have time. So your job is to be able to create your project for March by copying the template file, edit and construct a basic HTML page by going to the section app and then page.tsx. I'm going to show you a little bit later. Connect it to the nav bar if we have time, and then upload their template to GitHub for March. That's our main goal for today. Okay, so first things first, we got to copy the template folder and create a basic export function. If you do not have the template folder, it lives in modules. Okay, right at the top here, you'll see there's this project template.zip. If you download this zip and then extract it, like we've had practice with so far, this gives you a pre-configured web page where all you need to do is open it up in VS Code, edit the specific pages or create the specific pages you're trying to make, and then it's ready to be uploaded to GitHub and hosted from there. Okay? So, once you have downloaded this project template.zip, have you guys done that yet? Raise your hand if you've downloaded project template zip. Raise them high. I got to see where we're at. Okay. Okay. Trying to connect all the web design classes back together. I see a good majority of hands raised. Okay, so remember, a zip folder is like your backpack. It's got all of your information within it, but in order to access that info, you need to unzip it. Okay? So once you've unzipped your project template folder, your project template.zip, I put mine in my OneDrive. You can put it in your documents, whichever you prefer, because usually there's a decent amount of syncing happening. But if we go to my 2024 OneDrive and then see semester 2, web design, I believe it should be in here, and then I think it's an admin. Yes, it is an admin. Okay, so let me make these a little bit larger. Just to reconfirm, extra large icons. Zipped guy, this is our backpack. Okay, all our information is stored, configured, everything we need to be successful is in here, but it's zipped shut. Once you right-click and then, not right-click, sorry. Left-click in order to select it. You can click on this Extract All button, right? Just as a reminder. That guy lives there. And then that will turn it into this project template right here. Whenever you create a new folder for a month, all you have to do is copy this project template and rename it. Okay? So, right-click, go down to, or click this icon right here, which is copy. You can also hold Control-C, same copy that you've used in other classes before. Click on that. Right-click anywhere in the empty space. You see I'm going down here to this empty gray space. Right-click for red. There's a paste button with a little clipboard. You can also skip these steps by just going Control-C, Control-V. Control-V, or it's going to paste. It's going to take a second. It's going to be a lot faster than it was to extract, but it's still going to take a bit, because we're only going to do this once a month, so you don't have to do this every single time you make a page. Also, remember, while this is pasting for me, and maybe pasting for you, if we had everything unblocked that we needed unblocked, a lot of this would already be handled. We have to do it the hard way in this class because we're learning that different things aren't quite set up like they would be in your web design career. So, this is giving you the extra long version, which means once you're into the development world, you can do it the faster way, but you'll know how to fix it in case the faster way doesn't work. So we're about 45 seconds out. Pasting all my stuff here. Mine might be taking a little bit longer because I'm doing it to my OneDrive. If you're doing it to your documents or somewhere on your local computer, which means not in the cloud, not on the server anywhere, it might be a little bit faster. So we're pasting all these, got about 20 seconds left. Slowly but surely. Okay, and then once it completes, you should see a new file right next to the old one called Project Template Copy. Right? Same as when you copy any other Windows file with the same name, it's going to automatically add that copy to the side there. So that you can tell the difference, you want to make sure that you're naming things accurately so that other users know what you're talking about. I want you to right-click on the copy, click on this little A with the cursor, okay, this rename option right here, and rename this folder to March 2025, and then your first name, last name, okay? Just like this. So, it might take a sec for mine to finish thinking here. But this is your first step. Oh, I hit enter twice. So the first step in configuring your folder for March. These two are exactly the same thing, but I know that whatever assignments that I'm going to have you practicing, this month. Whatever different experiments we're going to be doing. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Different activities. It's all going to live in this March 2025 first name, last name folder like this. So, if we go back to the PowerPoint, this is our first two major steps of what I want us to accomplish today. Okay? So I'm going to give you, let's go about 5 or so minutes. That'll put you till 8:22 to get a March 2025 first name, last name folder on your computer. Okay? Is that clear? Any questions about what I'm asking you at the moment? Okay. 5 minutes. I'll see you back at 8:22. I'll help you as I walk around. Recording, actually. While you're waiting for your files to copy, or while you're waiting for your project template to extract, now is a good time to make a GitHub repo with the same name as March 2025 first name, last name. This is important once we get to Vercel, because everything you upload to that repo, Vercel is going to pull and put it out on the internet. Okay? So, very simply, we're going to go to github.com, sign in. You might need your phone for this. If you need your phone for this, this is an okay time to grab it, but put it back once you're done, please. I want to make sure everybody's got these parts complete. Okay, I'm using my phone to do my password manager, which you should all definitely have. Keep your stuff safe. Okay. So, I'm going to wait till you guys get logged in before I show you the next steps. One thing I forgot to show you. Hold on. Attention. The screen share's still up. Look on my screen right here. When you're ready to close your live server, remember closing the tab doesn't actually close the server. One way is to shut off your computer, but we don't want to do that because there's more students coming in here who need them. Go back to your terminal, right? You see where it says get or where it says ready or wherever you wrote npm run dev. If you hold the control key and then press the letter C, like you're going to copy something, you're going to notice down here a question pops up that says terminate batch job. Okay? We want to hit the letter Y and then the letter Y and then the enter button. Okay? This is going to close up our server, so we're going to hit Y, enter. It's going to go back to the path where the folder lives, right? We're back to the start when we wrote our run dev command. And if I go back to my browser and I refresh, it should no longer be working. It says unable to connect because we've closed the server. Okay? The short way to do this is to close the tab, but that's a bad habit that I don't want you to get into. Okay? Get to the GitHub stage. Remember we created these test repos a little bit earlier, or a little bit earlier in the year. You go up to the little mail. Oh, that's my notifications. Just kidding. You click on your face in the top right corner here, right? You go to your repositories, this guy, right here, and we're going to create a new one. Okay? I'm going to create a new one with this blue button right here. If you're light mode, it's green. And we're going to call it March 2025. Ben Blakeney. First name, last name. Okay? Right? Descriptions are optional, but I'm going to put notebook, check, style folder, due at the end of March. Okay. Now, before you can add a README if you want. I don't think we need one. I'm gonna have it. You need it to be public because you're not putting anything scary in here. You need to click Create Repository. So, while that creates, you might be thinking, as I say, you turn it in at the end of the month. Okay. How does actually submitting assignments for this class work? How is the grade going to happen if only one thing is getting turned in per month? It's only one project per month, okay? So, instead of you submitting 10 versions of the same web page with small changes to me, what you're going to do is each week we'll have some type of assignment or some type of mini project that happens inside of this March template. Okay? You turn that in by checking it off with me or by participating in the entry and exit tasks. That's another way I make sure you're completing the steps. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. But you only submit one folder at the end of each month. In that folder is going to be the different assignments that we do this week, the next week, the week after, and then the final week, as different pages, as different UI experimentations. Okay, that's part of your exit task, so a little bit of a spoiler there. Right? You only submit one project per month, but it has a lot of assignments and mini projects inside of it that get graded weekly, and the projects get graded monthly to make sure that you're getting everything that you need to have completed. We'll talk about that more in detail closer to the end of the month, in about 2 weeks or so. But just know that you're turning in more than one thing. You just only submit one thing to Canvas in big chunks instead of in little pieces. So, once you've created your GitHub repository with your March 2025 and then your first name, last name, just leave it for now, because we haven't actually started editing any of the March 2025 data quite yet. Okay? How many of y'all are still copying or extracting? Raise your hand, please. Okay, that's still a handful. So we're going to wait. Let's try 5 minutes. Let's see where we're at. And then I'll start talking about how you actually edit the HTML. If you're looking for things to complete, to accomplish, all right, if you've copied your unzipped folder, you've renamed it, and you've created the GitHub repository, you're in a good spot. That's all I need you to do at the moment. Okay? Real quick. Attention, please. Hey. Shush. Attention on the screen share. Attention on the projector. If you've got your file extracted, if you've got your folder renamed, and if you've got your GitHub repository created, I can show you the next steps so that you can start moving forward to make sure you know how to do these things. If not, complete one of those 3 things first. I know it's a lot of waiting. This is just for folks who have it ready to go. Okay? What you want to do, okay, this guy up here, if you look at this little trail of breadcrumbs, this thing is called your path. Okay? This is going to tell us, basically, where these files live on our computer. So for me, this is OneDrive, and then my specific synced OneDrive, the year, the semester, the class, and then whatever folder lives at the end of the chain. Okay? You do not need this many steps. I'm just overly organized. Okay? You do need a few steps, but not this many. Okay. So if this is our path, this is the route we're going to take to get to our destination, this is how we want to find the file when we open it in VS Code. Okay? So if you click on your Windows button, or you hit your Windows button down here at the bottom, and then you type VSC, click on the blue Visual Studio Code, we're going to open up this folder that you just saw. By going up to the File section, clicking on Open Folder, a little bit down the list here, and then going to that same spot, that same path that you just saw. Right? So I'm going to go to OneDrive, 2024, Semester 2, Web Design, Admin, and then there's my March 2025 Ben Blakeney. Okay? Normally, I click on things twice to get into the path. See, if we look right here, there's the same path. Right? There's the same path. I'm only going to click one time on the whole folder, and then I'm going to click the Select Folder button right here. Okay? And that's going to open this big list of files that is our React app. Okay? The reason I'm showing you how to open up this folder is because this is what you guys will basically be doing when you start the class. Each day, when you guys get here for March. Because this is the working notebook that we're using for March. It's all going to live inside of this folder, so it's easy to share, easy to upload, and easy to keep everything in one spot. Right? When you're ready, you can click on, I have 3 dots up here, but you probably have something that says Terminal, New Terminal at the very top of your VS Code. Okay? If you click those 2 buttons, it should pop up this guy right here, right? This little terminal, this little command line at the bottom of your VS Code. This space right here. A very important change that you need to make before you can start actually hosting your live server is to click this drop down right here. Okay? If you hover over it, it says Launch Profile. Click that drop down and select Command Prompt. Okay? Because PowerShell will not do what we need it to do. We want to click on Command Prompt. Okay? Drop down, Command Prompt. It's going to create this little, It's going to create this little section right over here. We just want to be in the one that says CMD. Okay? Inside of CMD, this is going to give you that same path where your file lives, right? Issaquah 2024, semester 2, web design admin. Here's my folder. At the end, where the white box is, where the cursor, you need to type the command npm space run run space dev enter. Okay? And when you do that, it's going to spin up the app. You can see how quickly it was ready. 1090 milliseconds. To actually get to the app, you need to hold the control key and click on this link right here. Okay? Localhost 3000. Yours might say localhost 3001. Those are both okay. Both of those will work for what we're doing here. If you can't find your localhost, scroll in the terminal until you see the purple triangle that says Next.js. Okay? This is the little feature of the computer and of that Node software that lives on your PCs that allows the live server to work. Okay? Hold Control and click. It's going to compile for a second. Okay? That should open up in one of my tabs. Let me find it real quick. There it is. Okay. It will open up a tab like this. And it should say, mine probably says we have more configuring to do. Yours probably does not say that. Okay? Yours should have a little warning here. It should have a get started by editing page.tsx, right? And it should have a little nav bar at the top with a little sun icon if everything is done correctly. Okay? Once you've started, once you've control clicked right here, try not to close this tab. It's okay if you do. You just have to control click on localhost again, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. So try really hard not to close the title of your site tab. Okay? And I think, to be honest, that's about as far as I want to go today. All right? So, to recap, we have copied our unzipped project template, renamed it to March with your first name, last name. We did a little bit in the terminal, npm run dev, and then click on localhost 3000 or localhost 3001. We're going to get to this tomorrow. We're going to get to this tomorrow, and we're going to do that by the end of this week. Okay? We created our GitHub repo. That was done. We got in the terminal. That's done. We copied and renamed. That's done. So if you've done those 3 things today, you're in a good spot. If you haven't done that yet, it doesn't mean you're in a bad spot. It just means that's the setup that needs to happen before we can actually start editing the pages. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to give you guys the last 10 minutes. You will need your phones for your exit task. Okay. If your files are still extracting, even after class, leave them. I don't have students again until 3rd period, so your computers are safe. Let's look at your exit task real quick and why you'll need your phone. Okay? Weekly agenda, look at Monday, exit task. I'm asking you, on the green one right here, to look at the screen time in your phone settings, which app has the most screen time, and then which app has the second most screen time. So your top 2 screen time apps are question number 1. And for question number 2, I want you to think about something called the user interface. You are the user. What you see on the screen is the interface, and it's designed with a very intentional function in mind. The same way that a car has a steering wheel and a go and a stop button, your DoorDash app or TikTok or Spotify have specific buttons in specific spots so that you know what they do, right? You want to be thinking about the user interface or the UI of the app and answer this question: how does that UI help you complete your app's functions? Okay? It's a 3-part question. Number 1 is, or I guess it's 2 parts. Part 1 is, what are your top 2 screen time apps? And number 2, how does the user interface, how does the screen that you see influence how that app works? Does that make sense? Okay. You can have your phones for the rest of the period to complete this exit task, as long as you've also gotten or worked on completing the first 3 things. Okay?